10 years. 10 years in business. This is going to be some of the lessons learned. I'm going to share with you transparently the roller coaster ride. 2015 we started, and it's been quite an adventure. It's certainly been one of the most challenging experiences. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about business, being a business owner. You learn a lot about people. You learn a lot about industries. You learn a lot about struggles. And this video is for those that are business owners, that you've going through this journey yourself. If you believe in systems, if you believe in going on your mission, then this is going to just put it all on the line. I'm going to just share everything with you in the hope that you take some lessons from this. I remember a statistic, something like only 2% of businesses actually ever make it to 10 years. And what a great way to mark such an occasion that we're still here 10 years later. So let's talk as though you're in the room together and we're having a great conversation. So let me give you a bit of an introduction. My name's Kev. We started our business in 2015. My daughter had been born in January of 2015, and my background is electrical engineering. And I knew that the industry, from what we were being told, the British steel industry is going through severe difficulties. And there were essentially people being made redundant. And I knew that we needed to make a change. So it was actually May of 2015 when I had been looking for an opportunity. And that was the day it was like, we're going to make it happen right now. Because the business I was working for was making lots of more redundancies. It was a truly, truly upsetting day. And the realities of that is you've got to take ownership. You've got to take responsibility of your own circumstance. You've got a choice. You either let things happen to you or you let things happen for you. And you've got to, with everything that you've got to, as I would like to say, take massive action every day. And we picked the e-commerce industry. So that's where we started. Our first business was an Amazon FBA business. Now, 10 years later, we actually have now our systemized group. And I'll share with you why the systemized group is important and something that you might want to explore, having different companies within a group that are all supportive of one another. But how did we even get to this point? So we started in 2015 from home. We were shipping physical products to Amazon's warehouses. We had just watched The Apprenticeship. The Apprentice. I'd completed an apprenticeship, but we'd just watched The Apprentice, and it was buy low, sell high. And so we thought we'd do that. We'd have a family challenge. Who can make the most money out of £10? And I'd never made a profit before, but I came across a gentleman called Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn once said in one of his seminars, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. He also said that, wages make a living, and, ultimately profit can make a fortune. Wages make a living, profit can make a fortune. Now, in terms of a fortune, to me, why I started was I just actually wanted to spend more time with my family and my kids. I never had a chance to actually spend time, being able to take my son, who is now 17 today at the time of this recording, never had a chance to take him to school. And I really wanted differently for my daughter. So you've got to have a reason to get started in the first place. And that reason has to pull you through the ups and downs. It has to give you energy, and it has to give you that grit, that fight, that belief that no matter what, you will find the way or make the way. And over the years, that has been so vitally important, to always know why you started and always be pulled and reminded to the cardinal rules of why you started. I'll give you an example. You may be in your business right now. I encourage you, and I'm sure, hopefully that you do, but I always encourage myself to always remember that I started because I wanted to take my children to school. So we built our business around that. We built the business, myself and Kylie, who's my wife, we built it upon those fundamental philosophies. The philosophies of we want to take our children to school together, we want to pick them up together. If there's any type of activity at school, we want to be able to essentially go see that. We want to spend as much time with our young children as much as possible. So still to this day, 10 years later, we still believe in those and we still live to those. And the realities are, from a business point of view, you can experience times where you are being pulled into the business, you are being pulled where it's taking a lot of time, late nights, weekends, early mornings, lack of sleep, waking up, worrying times. These are just the realities of business. But you always have to remember why you start. So we got started, and immediately everything that was once important wasn't important anymore. When you think of, whether it was Netflix, whether it was watching telly, it just wasn't important anymore. And I had to start a business. So we started in e-commerce. We started buying low, selling high, and we were able to actually quit our jobs and our careers within 6 months. We actually sold, within those first 6 months, about £140,000 in total revenue. During that time, I didn't know much about finances, I didn't know much about VAT, I didn't know much about accounting, I didn't know much of pretty much everything as you get started in your business. Now, 10 years later, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about accounting. I've learned a lot about team building. I've learned a lot about what can go right, what can go wrong. And it's been quite an epic kind of testing journey. When it comes to actually, when we came free for the first time, that was an interesting period of time, because it felt for the longest period of time that you was kind of just like on holiday. You always used to have like days off. You always used to have some time off from work, and then you didn't have to think about what you're doing at work. You didn't have to think about your emails. You didn't have to think about getting back to anybody. You didn't have to think about phone calls, and that was now strange, because you're now working for yourself in your living room at home. And the first thing that I kind of learned as kind of going through all this was time management is absolutely fundamentally key. We've only got a certain amount of time in the day, right? Right now, we've got the same amount of time. The clock ticks whether we like it or not. And when you've got a newborn, who Harper was in that first year, starting a business and an electrical engineering career, it really tests your time. And we absolutely knew I had to maximize every part of the time that I had. So I immediately got into routines, what time I was waking up, what time I was going to bed. I was immediately staying up as just cut down my sleeping time, which some would say is probably not healthy. I understand that. Getting maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep in an evening, which is not sustainable. But that's the realities. If you want to get ahead, I knew I was starting work at 8 a.m. I knew kids were getting ready for school. So I wanted to just get up for like 6. I wanted to go to bed at like 12, 1 o'clock. Many times my family had gone to bed, and that's the time to get your laptop out and start building, to start learning. And time management is then key. Using a Google Calendar, using a calendar, whatever calendar you decide to use, do time blocking and deciding, okay, these are the times, this is what I'm focused on, this is what needs to be done. Coming from an electrical engineering background, I then also thought about a principle of what we used to do from electrical engineering. So we used to have like maintenance tasks where machinery needed to be, maintained, or we had like installation tasks, which basically was like we were installing a brand new project. And I thought to myself, well, that principle actually applies to entrepreneurship as well. And very early I started to think, where am I spending my time? Am I spending time on maintenance tasks that are not growing the business, or am I spending time on like installation tasks? And I just referred to that now as maintenance versus growth, or growth versus maintenance. And as a business owner, as you start to build and you've maybe got your own businesses now, you want to decide where you want to position yourself, what you actually enjoy to do. And I put growth tasks around all the things that were important to me, that I felt was necessary as you wanted to build a business of scale, right? I always thought about systems creation, relationship building, talking to customers, talking to suppliers, talking to people, very much goal setting and where we going, visionary. You're going to be two types of people. You're either going to be a visionary or you're going to be an integrator, right? Visionary, who is very much goal setting, vision driven, relationships. Where are we heading? Like really the North Star, the ultimate vision. And then you've got the manager, right? The day to day, how are we doing? Reports, feedback, KPIs. How's it going? And you're going to be we've all got each hat on in the business, and very much I did all throughout. Utilizing virtual assistants, trying to delegate maintenance tasks away from me. So every bit of time that I was spending, it was very much on team building. It was very much on systems creation. It was very much on building new projects, or building on the business, or building new supplier relationships, or publishing and community building, and all that kind of it leads to future growth. Because a key lesson is you're not just building your business of today, you're also building your business of tomorrow. And a lot of individuals and a lot of businesses, and I can relate to this because we all do at times. So this is by no means any form of criticism or anything, because we're all the same. We all can find ourselves like firefighting, building our business of today. But you always have to remember, always build your business of tomorrow as well. What that basically means is actions that are required that you may not see for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, right? Actions that you take today that's got no instant reward, but you are working for what the future is going to be. And that has been one of the really big lessons learned, because if you stand still, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? You've got to keep moving forward. You've got to keep building. You've got to keep thinking, where's the market? Where's the industry? Where are we heading? What are we doing? Where are we? What's around the corner that we maybe didn't foresee? So first 12 months was very much start the business, Amazon FBA, e-commerce, learned about e-commerce in the living room, and then we moved out into our first warehouse. And we was in that warehouse till 2020, and I learned a lot. from our first initial team members in payroll, in accounting, and understanding different personalities when it comes to managing finances. We all have different money personalities or money blueprints. Some people are more spenders, some people are more savers, some people are more avoiders. Learned so much in terms of, the relationship with money. How do you feel emotionally to it? Are you emotionally attached to it, or do you manage it from a logical point of view? Are you more of a spender, or are you more of a saver? And having these types of processes and systems and philosophies are really, really important. And they're going to give you the personal awareness of why you do what you do. Because as you build your business and as you grow your business, you grow as an individual, and they go hand in hand. And I am not the same person as I was 10 years ago. I'm sure you watching this, you got your own business, or you considering starting a business. Just know that the journey changes you. It evolves you. Change may sound negative. You're evolving. You're evolving from experiences. Failures are a part of the journey. Negative failures are a part of the journey. Expanding your comfort zone, going into the unknown, dealing with uncertainty is a part of the journey. But you have to always remember that the business that you're building is ultimately guided by your customers, your desires, the desires of your customers, and ultimately the solutions to the problems that your ideal customer has, right? Who you want to work with, who you want to serve, who you want to ultimately provide opportunities and solutions for. And that then comes from core values and beliefs. The beliefs that you have on what your business and brand and community and your services, what it stands for. And we, a part of Systemized Group, I've always believed in, first of all, from a professional point of view, systems, right? Now we've got artificial intelligence. Systems is your ability to scale. The reality is, and I love this kind of quote, is like we are not firefighters, we are fire prevention specialists. You can try to manage everything yourself, but there's only a certain amount of time in the day. Or you could create a system. A system is scalable. If everybody follows the system, then you are able to work at higher leverage. And leverage is so important. Leverage of your time, getting other people involved in the mission, whether that is virtual assistants, working from different skilled individuals from around the world, whether it is, we've got virtual assistants from India, from the Philippines, from Serbia, from South America, different skills, different websites such as Fiverr.com, or whether it's Upwork, whether it is, there's freelancers, there's so many different people that you can take advantage of today because of the internet. And being smart in, and that's how I built the initial team. Our initial team was very much virtual assistant and great virtual team members via phone calls and first Google Hangout, and now we've obviously got Zoom and we've got Microsoft, you've got Meetups, you've got all these different platforms now that you can just talk to. But you've got to think about, like, always in my mind is like how you do one thing, what does it look like when you do that 1,000 times? And how you're doing that one thing, if it's not scalable to 1,000 times, you're going to have breakages. And during the first sort of 2016, 17, 18, I'd also started creating like YouTube videos and building out communities and sharing the journey, sharing tips, sharing how we do things, and being of service, because we're now in a place where, in my opinion, you want to consider having multiple ways of all being interconnected, and ultimately you want to have different streams of income that all build to the same income. So, if you've got a physical products business, then having an information-based income stream makes sense, because physical products has got capital expenditure, right? You've got to spend capital to invest in the stock, to then sell the stock. It's very high capital investment, whereas information products, we've created books, we've created little video programs and courses and mentorships and all these things. They are lower in capital and they can fuel one another. So certainly found that whatever business that you've got, there will be different supportive income streams that you can fuel into. Now, don't mistake that for, and I've certainly not, I've always tried to remind myself that you want to try to build a bridge from one side to another, not trying to do too many things at once. If you try to build 5 bridges, you won't get to the other side. And there were certainly times where, you can fall into that, because you start building, you go through some difficulties, some challenges, and then you look at like, what else can I do? And then you start another bridge. And you've got to really think about, okay, get to a point where it's growing, I'm on the other side, and now you can build teams and processes and systems to manage that to go on. So we've got warehouses now. We built a licensing, so we've got warehouses around the world now. In the US, in Europe, in the UK, we've got 4 warehouses here in the UK. We've got 3 in the US. We've got 1 in Europe, and it's only possible through processes and systems and having that clarity on how you do tasks from A to B. And you've got to get that systematized. You've got to get systems in your business before you can leave that to operate itself. And then you've got to have management, and you've got to have multiple layers of team members, whether it's team members, team leaders, team managers, or heads of areas, departments as we call it. And all that becomes really, really important. So that's very much what we're building out. 2017, I kind of published videos and building communities. We've got other YouTube channels that's had 1 million views. We've over 10,000 subscribers. We've got Facebook groups, over 5,000 members. We've got now school communities that's got over 2,000 members. And in 2017, when I was like just being of service, what that did is it also attracted great people towards me. And many of those are now my friends. Many of those are, business partners. So you've always got to think about building your business of today as well as tomorrow. And that's certainly what I've been trying to kind of think about. We went obviously through a real difficult time during like 2020. We had, I think, multiple lockdowns here in the UK. I'll always remember, you must stay at home, and on the uncertainty that provided. From an e-commerce industry, you're right, that it kind of, the warehouses were kind of blowing up at that point. Everybody's stuck indoors, ordering from Amazon and eBay and all these different platforms. And that was a challenge in itself, because you're scaling quite rapidly, and you're trying to adjust to changing marketplaces and what's happening in the industry. And some things you then couldn't. We was very essential goods, shipping things for medical supplies and these types of things. It was like essential goods, what people would essentially need. And the reality is, it's tough, right? It's hard. Now we're in this head office. This is our Systemized Group head office. We've got warehouse about 5-10 minutes in the car away from here, and so we've got e-commerce business, our Systemized Fulfillment, logistics. We've got our Systemized Housekeeping. So we've got housekeepers locally serving individuals and homes and businesses. We've got a great brand, Health and Wellness, which is a fantastic mission, great community, 65,000 people. We have software from a click-buy perspective. That's an artificial platform from an e-commerce perspective. So all these are kind of connecting together, and that's where the group essentially comes into. They're all got a purpose and they're all supportive of one another. Housekeeping, for example, supports us in our warehouses as well as our offices. Our software platforms helps us in our e-commerce. Warehouses obviously help us from a branding. So you're going to want to think certainly how you can give yourself diversity while they're all still interconnected and supportive of one another. There's nothing greater than having Q4 every quarter of the year. We're still in that process, of course. We're still, after 10 years, we're still heavily involved in. We want to build our housekeeping business even more. We want to build our fulfillment even more into different countries. We want to build our brand, Health and Wellness brand, and physical products and trainings and being supportive. That's through a great lady called Sammy. We want to build our AI platform. Artificial intelligence is most definitely the future, and every business needs to take advantage of it, whether that is for your marketing, editing, whether it is for your copy, sales copy on a website, whether it is for scripts, whether it is for just information, whether it's administration, whether it is, there's so many. Artificial intelligence literally is going to change the face of everything. It is everything. It can learn anything and everything. So there's a whole load of from markets changing, the world is changing, technology is changing, and we're living in a world where, from a business perspective, you as a existing business owner, we have to adapt with these times, and we have to keep growing with these times and keep pushing with these times. But if you're just a startup as well, there's a big opportunity as well, right? And when you think of now some of the things that you kind of think of from a politics point of view and taxes point of view, and what's happening in the US from Donald Trump president and Elon Musk, and what's happening in the UK from a Labour, and then you've got Reform UK, and you think about all these things. There's quite a journey for sure, but meeting people and going on this journey of a lifetime is truly a journey. And it's an adventure. It's a serious one at that. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about people. You learn a lot about being of service. You learn a lot of what works, what doesn't work. You learn a lot of how you can solve problems, how you can communicate. You learn a lot of about your own confidence, your own belief. Being on stage and being a speaker, in crowds, I thought I'd never do that. Writing books, thought I'd never do that. But you grow as a person. So I would always recommend personal development. Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is my go-to. I'd always recommend Jim Rohn. He gives you some real life philosophies and real life insights on why you do what you do. I always would recommend, being involved in different business owners. and network and core values of trust, loyalty, got each other's backs, accessibility, right? Taking massive action, systemization, contribution. You know, if you really, really understand and be aware of like, these are my values, this is what it's going to take. And then you can start to share that with people, right? What does success look like for you? And what does success look like for me? And then when we have an open conversation like that, and you're talking to maybe a business partner or you're talking to a potential client, right? Black and white, this is what we do, this is how you do it, this is the agreement, all itemized, this is what I believe in. What does success look like for you? What do you believe in, right? And what does failure look like? Like, what's an absolute no-no? You don't want to. I always say this when I'm on calls. It's like, I don't want to inadvertently do anything to upset you or piss you off or anything of this nature. So we're going to be black and white on this, right? We'll be black and white with each other. I'll share with you what my success looks like here. My success in this is I'd love to meet new business owners. I'd love to talk about different industries. I'd love to, if you're interested in, adding new things in your business. I love the creation of businesses. I love our next phase. I'd like to look at from an investing into businesses and buying businesses and, going into businesses and like what's fitted within the group and really just share all those lessons learned. I know in 2025, I would definitely recommend, I truly believe in e-commerce as the industry. E-commerce has got a bit more difficult. There is platforms, great platforms that you can utilize, but I also think there's great industries that are going up as well, like the education industry, the self-education industry. There's more people now looking to educate themselves from real life people like me and you. Right? Though we don't want to go to university. I've been to university. You don't want to be getting tutored from a lecturer. You want to, you want to be in your office. You want to be in your, you may have a shop. You might have a warehouse. You may be at home in your home office. You want to learn from each other, and that's why we've just started building different communities across different things, and I really believe that community building is really, really important, and I'd recommend any business to create some form of community. Social media, learning things about marketing and sales, talking to people and objections and frameworks and marketing. I've learned a lot about organic, paid, running paid ads, whether it's SEO. There's been so many things learned over time from a business perspective, and many books that I've read, and there's so many things that I'd like to kind of continue to share. But generating multiple millions of revenue in businesses, going into warehouses and offices, in generating income from multiple types of businesses has been quite an epic adventure. So stick around. This is going to be a great new chapter. Our next 10 years is going to be like no other. Artificial intelligence will be a big part of it. The world will change, and I would love nothing more to go on this journey with you. Thank you very much for watching. If you're all the way at this point, I really, really appreciate your time. I know how valuable your time is. Please give it a big thumbs up. Please hit the subscribe button. There's going to be more videos come soon. We're going to have more on this channel talking business, systemization. We'll talk marketing. We'll talk sales. We'll talk community building. We'll talk buying businesses, investing. We'll talk many different things. But in general, we're going to most definitely talk some good, interesting stuff. 10 years. What a journey. 10 years. If I was to summarize it in one word, I'd say epic. Epic, challenging, epic, amazing. And hopefully, maybe, you can relate to that. We've got a great mission here. We're going to continue to share that mission, and whatever mission that you're on in your business, we're going to change entrepreneurs and business owners. They change the world. And people like me and you will always be those there to support and help real people solve real problems. So as always, keep smashing your business and keep systemizing your business, keep working on your business, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Take care. I'll speak soon.